All right, welcome back here on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. John and Dell, along with AJ, being joined by an old friend of the show, former Aggie center and Houston Texans center, Steve McKinney, the Inside Skinny with Steve McKinney, back here on the show. What is up, Jackhole?
What's up? What's up, guys? I'm just honored to be on a show with such a couple of legends,
Well,
Hall of
one
Famers.
legend. One legend.
Well,
Guys,
Lance isn't here. Dell is here instead. Lance just said Steve McKinney's going to be on, so he said I'm out. No.
Okay. Well, tell Lance congratulations for me.
I will. I'll tell him congratulations. We appreciate it. Thanks, man. Yeah, it was when you were with us. Yeah, I'm with a couple of Hall of Famers here, that's for sure. There probably wasn't anything further from your mind that Lance and I would be Hall of Famers when you used to do the show with us.
No, I didn't know what we were doing.
We didn't know what we were doing, and we still really don't. Steve McKinney, old friend of the show. How you doing, man? How's all your McDonald's doing? They good?
Yeah, man, we're doing great. Just selling nuggets and burgers.
I love that the
kids.
spicy nuggets are back. I mean,
Yeah, spicy nuggets, and it's McRib season. So.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
McRib
There it
season. The
is.
people love
Yeah.
McRibs. Do you just pull it away to make them want more? Is that the way you do that?
Yeah, of course. People, because what happens, they come out, people go and they gorge on them and burn themselves out on them after about a month. They're sick of them. So you have to take them off the menu, let them build up that appetite for them again, and bring them back.
There it is, man. You guys talk about smart business, man. For those of you who don't know, Steve McKinney, former center for your Houston Texans and Texas A&M Aggies. He owns all kinds of McDonald's stores throughout the area, so he has done really, really well for himself. And are you still going up and doing that with Billy Lucci on Fridays up there in College Station?
I do. Yeah, I go up there on Fridays during the season. We do a little. Me and my brother and Billy do a little show called Final Countdown, last show of the week, just to finish up the week talking about the game and the upcoming weekend. So yeah, I've been doing that for like 10 years, man. It's just more of something I do for fun, just to go hang out with my boys.
What is it? You two haven't played now at Texas and Texas A&M. By the way, brought to you by Rebecca Creek Distillery. Our coverage this week of Texas and Texas A&M. We are your station for the Aggies right here, ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. So if you're in your car and you can't watch the game, you can listen right here. This is different, isn't it? What are you feeling this week as you head to this game?
Man, John, I'll tell you, we've been looking forward to this game for a long time, obviously since 2011, but I can't even think of a time in my lifetime where this game had this much meaning on the line, especially for A&M. I mean, for these two to be playing and renewing the rivalry in a game that actually has this much meaning, that where the winner's going to the SEC championship game, I mean, that's as big as it gets, and to be a night game at Kyle Field, I mean, oh my goodness, that atmosphere is going to be literally insane. And there's been some insane atmospheres, and I got a feeling this is going to be the best one yet.
Did you sell your tickets for $3,000?
I wouldn't. They're priceless. My tickets are priceless. You couldn't pry them out of my cold, dead hands, John.
How about how much they're going for? This is ridiculous.
It is. It is. But, I mean, you got to think about it, man. You got, 500,000 living alumni on both sides, both schools, and there's been, 12 years of built-up anticipation? I mean, there's no way. These tickets were going to be top dollar no matter what the records were.
Absolutely. Steve McKinney with us here on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. What is your recollection of playing in this game?
Oh, I remember it from, before I even got to A&M, how important it was. But, being in it as a player, I mean, you couldn't help but kind of know that game was coming. It was always the last game of the year, so it wasn't like you went into the season working on UT or thinking about the game. But when you got close to it, when it started getting close to November, it became very difficult not to kind of look ahead a game or two. When you knew they were coming up on the schedule, because it's just so meaningful. No matter how the season had gone, you always felt like just winning that game mattered more than any other game on your schedule. Still does.
You think maybe they were looking ahead, heading into the Auburn game?
You know, John, you know as well as I do, buddy. Going on the road in the SEC at night, especially in November. I mean, I think Ole Miss and Alabama, A&M. I mean, that's just proof how difficult that is, and that's exactly what Texas is about to walk into Saturday. So,
Steve,
I don't envy them.
Steve, we played sound from Mike Elko because he was asked a question about lack of holding calls against his defensive line or for his defensive line since September 21st. Can you remember a time, or has it ever happened that you were on an offensive line and you never got called for holding for like 2 months? Is that ever a thing you remember happening?
I mean, it's a little ridiculous. I mean, I'm sitting there watching games, and there's always going to be some holds here and there on both sides. But when you get a call for the other team, or two, and then you're going, okay, well that's fine, that was a hold, but call it both ways, and then you see holds that just get let go and don't get called. It gets a little frustrating. I mean, I've seen so many plays this year. I mean, I saw 2 or 3 in the South Carolina game last week that should have been called for holds, but they didn't. So it's like, okay, is there something going on? Like, why are they not calling holding calls? And it's pretty much impossible to go 5, 6 straight SEC games without getting a holding call. Come on, I mean, what are we doing?
It's longer. It's incredible. Since September 21st, no holding calls against the opposing team. The team that's playing Texas A&M. It's ridiculous. Maybe all the refs are from Texas. Maybe they're all from UT. We don't know. You don't know.
There's plenty of conspiracy theories to go around, I'm sure. Hey,
I'm sure.
Hey, they can make up for it this Saturday, John. Just make some calls up this Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Call like 3 holdings on that future first round pick, Kelvin Banks. Get it done.
Let's even it out.
Yeah. What do you think of Elko so far?
I really like him. I think Elko's done a nice job. I mean, he's definitely changed the culture around there. You can't deny that. I mean, that team. You look at what they've lost this year. They've lost their top 2 running backs. They've been playing with probably without their best lineman for the last 4 weeks. They just next man up mentality, man. That team has a lot of grit. They have a lot of fight. I think Marcel Reed has just been electric, especially at times. I think defensively we got to play better against the run. We got to do a better job of containing the quarterback, and I think this week sets up pretty nicely for them. They struggled a little bit with running quarterbacks, but overall, I really love the team. I love the mentality of them. They fight from start to finish. I don't think anybody expected them to be in this situation really, and yet here they are with a really legitimate shot of playing in the SEC championship game.
Yeah, that was my question about your impression of this team, because Mike Elko, some people thought it was a shot at Jimbo. We don't have fast talkers around here. We're programmed, stuff like that. Is it pretty noticeable the difference in how things are done there from last year?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's there's, and I was a big fan of Jimbo. Okay, I'll just say that I liked Jimbo. I thought he was a good coach. I think things got a little haywire there at the end, and maybe there were some opportunities and disciplinarian actions, but as far as what Elko's done, I mean, I can definitely see the difference. I mean, I think he's authentic. I think he's a genuine dude. I think what you see is what you get. I think the players really respond well to him. They know what's expected. He demands a high standard, and he holds them to that standard. And I think that's what you're seeing is just a team that's just really come together. They did a nice job in the portal. They brought in guys with the right mentality. Not divas and guys that were just there to pick up a paycheck. I think they were looking for the type of players that were going to come in there and help change the culture, and it definitely feels like that happened.
Steve McKinney with us here on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5, brought to you by Rebecca Creek Distilleries, Rebecca Creek Whiskey, Enchanted Rock Vodka, Texas Ranger Whiskey, celebrating the return of the rivalry, the first time since 2011. Gig 'em and hook 'em. We're going to have Selvin Young joining us a little bit later in the show to talk about. You mentioned Marcel Reed, a tough call, with doing what he has done especially in
Mm-hmm.
this era of NIL and portal and everything else. But Marcel Reed has been the right call. At any point, do you expect him to go back though? If Marcel struggles?
I don't think so, man. I think we're locked in. I think we've reached that point of no return now. So, I mean, it's his team, it's his game to win and his game to lose. So we're riding it all the way with Marcel, and I think he showed that he can be that guy. I think he'll only get better too. I mean, he's a guy that I think is an off season away from being a really, really big time player. So. But he's already shown major flashes of it. I mean, you've seen he can run the ball. He's shown that he does a great job on the zone reads, taking advantage of that when they give it to him. And now you're starting to see him throw the ball well. I mean, he's thrown for over 300 yards the last 2 games. His accuracy's improved. He's very comfortable in the pocket. So, I like what I'm seeing from him. I mean, you see the kid just kind of growing up before your eyes and developing and becoming that leader and the dynamic player that we need him to be. So I love a lot of what I'm seeing with Marcel Reed right now.
Yeah, when Wegman was struggling against LSU, he didn't hesitate to put Marcel in. But when Auburn came out and jumped out big, he didn't put Wegman in. That's and he believed. And sure enough, Marcel brought him back, and that was a hell of a game that game last week, and maybe took a lot out of him. What do they have to do you watch Texas this year? Yeah, what you watch all of A&M's games? What do they have to do to beat Texas?
Man, I mean, it's going to be one of those games. I mean, Texas is a good football team. They got a lot of talent. They got a lot of speed at receiver. Probably be our most challenging receiving passing game to contain. We're banged up, man. We're struggling at cornerback. We have had some injuries, and guys are beat up a little bit, and I'm sure that's on both sides of the ball. But this is one of those games where you're going to have to depend on your front four to put some pressure on the quarterback, because you're not going to be able to leave these cornerbacks on islands with all the speed they have at receiver. So you're going to have to keep some safeties back at times and depend on your front four, and maybe bringing a linebacker at times to get pressure on the quarterback and move them off his spot. So that's what to me is going to be the key to slowing down their offense. Of course, we got to stop the running game. I mean, I think they have a really good offensive line. I think they're well coached. They got good players. They've lost their top running back as well at the beginning of the season, but Blue's been doing a nice job carrying the load, and we got to keep the running game in contain and force the quarterback to throw under pressure, because if you give him time to sit back there, he'll pick you apart, and that's not going to be good.
Yep.
And then on offense, I think the key is that we got to run the ball. Period. We have to be able to establish a running game. We got to be getting over 4.5 yards a carry, and I think if they do that, they win this game.
Yeah, and there aren't going to be any holds against Texas, so he's going to have plenty of time back there. Plenty of time.
No, I don't go into any A&M game in the SEC expecting calls to go our way, John. That happened one time against LSU, if you remember. We had about 3 or 4 50-50 calls that went our way, so that was it. Other than that, no.
Yeah. No, because they hate Brian Kelly more than they hate the Aggies. That's why. That's exactly why. So that's going to be fun, man. It's going to be some kind of fun to get these two teams. It's something that should have happened a while ago, but it took 13 years, but here we go. We got it back, and it is going to be a lot of fun. Thank you to Rebecca Creek Distillery for sponsoring this and talking Texas A&M and Texas football. Hey, Steve McKinney, man, great talking to you. Really
pleasure,
appreciate
man.
you, and we're looking forward to this game Saturday night. It's going to be fun.
John, you coming down, man? You gonna come down for the game?
No, it's a long trek for me to get there. I'm a little bit further than I used to be.
Have you told people that you are now an LA guy, John?
No, I'm in LA now, Steve. I'm a Los Angeles guy now. Did you know that?
Oh my gosh! What the? You've gone Hollywood. I knew it. Eventually, you'd go Hollywood on us.
Johnny would.